I'm chasing shadows in the night. Words echo silent where I hide. Every mirror shows a stranger's eyes, searching for the part of me that's mine. But the sky ignites a spark inside, burning down to wait. In the ashes of my fight, truth is born again. I will rise up like a phoenix from the flame. Find my voice and call out your name. From the roots of what I used to be, I'll embrace the truth and set it free. Blinded by the weight of all my fears, I let them break me, shape my day. Every scar's a testament to life. Now I rewrite the story in my mind. Yeah, feel the fire burning. I'm no longer turning away from the truth that's calling. I'm alive today. All I used to be. Rise up free, rise free, set me free. Rising high, Phoenix, watch me go.
All right. Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, every one of you. Hello, hello. You know, I have had so many messages. Phoenix, we missed you. Where are you? Not everybody is following me on the TikTok. Some of you are only on the YT. And I took a few days off to just spend some time with family and keeping a promise that we made to our granddaughter long ago. And it was nice to get away. It was nice to just have some downtime. And I will tell you, I missed you all too. But here's the deal. Everyone needs a little time away. Oh my God, I sound like that 80s song. Everybody needs a little time away. I'm not a singer, but I love music. Music has always been around in my life. Now, let me tell you guys, you know, I know that the the photos from ISP came out. I downloaded them quickly, right away. Anytime I see something, I am downloading it on my phone or my computer, if accessible, because I will tell you, things disappear on the internet. They will only hope that no one will see them. Now, as I stated in some of my posts on YouTube, I will not be sharing the most graphic. I can't even put it into words. I just feel like it's so disgusting to share some of these pictures that people have been sharing. But remember, to each their own. It's not my jam. I am not here, again, for clicks, likes, and views. I am here to share the evidence, read everything, share that in layman's terms with you. I am no expert. My disclaimer is on here. If you've never been to a Phoenix Talks live stream, welcome in. I'm about to make your freaking day. What do I mean? I'm about to give it to you straight up. You know, I don't drink alcohol, but if someone told me to give me a shot straight up and don't sugarcoat it, don't do anything that anyone else is doing, I don't. I am not here for clicks, likes, and views. Like I said, I am not here trying to shove merchandise down your throats. I am not trying to make a quick buck, even though if I do make some money on the side, great. It's for retirement. For my mods. So since there was not a mod Monday and it is now Thursday, well, no, Friday, sorry. I was going to have this live last night, got busy, something came up, had to get that done. So I have always said my service to my creator is first, my family, and everything else, work, everything else falls into line. Now, I will say this though, this is probably going to be the most heated, talked about live in all the internet because I am bringing you all the details. I'm going to give you some Phoenix fireballs, and I just tell you the way it is. So if you are looking for truth, justice, transparency, whatever you want to call it, you have found it. Now, let me just say this with a caveat here. Anything I talk about is my own views. Any guests that I have on is their own views. And yes, we are going to talk about Idaho 4. I may not keep to the title because a lot of this has been debunked, but there's two topics I really want to talk about today. One, welcome freaking in every single one of you here. Hello, no talkie before coffee. I have my coffee today. I'm revving to go. Marissa's been waiting all week. Okie dokie Lisa. Hello. Terry OG's in the house. And I see Christine, Donna Rosa, my trusty mods are in. And anything that you give donation wise today will be going 100% to my mods that are here. Patty, hello. Christine, is Dylan's room the one with the pictures of butterflies? We will definitely get into that. Let me just see who else is in the house. God, so many people. Brenda, give a thumbs up, everyone. Dina, welcome back. Love you, girl. Good to see ya. Inked Mama, hey, glad to be here. So am I. Generation X is the best. No, ever. Okay, ever. No question about it. All right. Although I love my guys, but still excited for today. LFG. Hey, everyone. Yes, I love you guys welcoming everyone in. Good to see every single one of you. This is probably going to be one of the most talked about lives. Now, I said that in my last live, and guess what? It freaking was. Whether it be talked about by the lovers or the haters, it has been freaking talked about. And I know that they're goofing around, spying on me, seeing what I'm going to say next, because I had a guest on. I had a guest on 2 weeks in a row, and then I had a surprise live before I left for a little vacation. And I have been just drug through the mud. My name has been dragged around. Very little did I know until, obviously, you trusty folks out there told me, hey, did you know some of the stuff that was going on? I'm like, no, clue me in on it. Well, Viv, I know you're out there dragging me through the mud. You can say whatever you want, but I am going to say right here, whatever my guest views are, those are their views. If people can relate to it, they're going to relate to it. Because no matter what I do or say, I am not part of this crime scene collective. I am not part of an agency. I am 100% independent. And the people who are in these groups and agencies don't like it because Phoenix is getting clicks, likes, and views. I could do this all day long and not freaking care about anything I make and everything I say. I could care about all the documents I read. I can see that someone is trying to pull the wool over your eyes. Someone is trying to hoodwink you with all these people saying, oh, Brian Koberger's so guilty. No, he's actually factually 100 freaking percent innocent. Factually innocent, folks. The FBI have said it. The NPD said it. The ISP have said it. And I have said it, and Taylor has said it, and thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people are finally getting it. So for those of you who got it early on, congratulations. You are probably the top 1 to say 5% that get what's going on in our country with our justice system. See, here's the deal. They didn't have a lot of options. They said this guy did it, and his only options was A and B. There was no see your way out of this charge. All right, so I have said for months, I'm going to do a compilation of my lives where I talk about, and my TikToks, which one was the confidential informant. Which one? Who do you think right now in the chat? Who do you think in that house, not one of the 4, who do you think in that 1122 Queen Road address, which one do you think is the factual confidential informant. And could you imagine if Bill Thompson got caught pulling on some crazy program where they put somebody at risk or in danger, and this happened and it backfired on them? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine the national security that these programs and they're running these experiments or these secret agendas? Could you imagine? A lot of people are saying Kaylee. A lot of people are saying Dylan. Kaylee. Awake, not woke. That's in my name. Les Awake. Do you know? I believe it. You should be awake. I'm not woke. I am awake. She said, not including the victims. Absolutely. $50, Rebecca, is going to be split 3 ways between our mods. Their little pot is getting bigger and bigger. And you know what I'm going to do? I am so freaking generous. I'm going to match Rebecca's $50 right now. And I'm going to make sure, Rebecca, you get right into that drawing that we are going to have. And I'm going to match the drawing with another $50. $50 goes to the drawing, and another $50 goes to the mods. So today my mods will be sharing $100. All right. So let's do this. Are you guys ready to jump into this? Because this is going to be freaking fire. Freaking fire. I want to ask you in the chat. Let's make this an amazing live today. Would you all agree? Drop a 1. If you agree that we are going to make this live so freaking amazing on the internet, drop a 1, because I know it's going to be. And sometimes I get so excited that I just want to tell you everything before I even show you, because you know I bring receipts. Okay. I know this is going to be all over the place, and these are lives. I don't prepare for these things. I know I have something that I want to talk about, and then I just go. Let me share something with myself real quick so I can show you exactly what I'm talking about. So, if you think for 1 second, who is your number 1 suspect? Who do you think actually did this? Who do you think in your mind right now, who could have actually pulled this off? Who do you think? Now remember, there were 2 unknown identified DNA. There were some unidentified fingerprints. And yes, they had to verify who they were. They had to put as many people and cross off those people as much as they possibly could. And do you know factually that Dylan Mortensen was excluded from the L5 and L6 fingerprints? They did not belong to her. And those were actually latent fingerprints. Hopefully you all know what that means. Cats, you are amazing, girlfriend. That is $20. I'm going to match that for my mods today, $20. I'm going to do that. That is now $120 in their pot for today. All right. That is freaking amazing. Cats, you're in the drawing, obviously. And I'm going to put you in there 2 times because you gave the other day to my mods, and I'm going to match that. All right. Oh, wait a minute. That's 140. I can't count. Shh. All right. I matched that for you guys. That's 140. All right. I just had to write that down real quick. Okay, let's do it. So, who do y'all think? Who you all thinking did this? JD and Hunter. Donna Rosa, I just have to give you the Top Nester Award because, girlfriend, I know you are paying attention. Woo, so is Les. Wow, look at this. JDJ has, yep, definitely some, no, Not trained people, guys. Not trained people freaking at all. If this was trained people, they would have known who it was already. Oh my God, you guys are killing me. Miss Mommy 99. I am going to match that last super sticker. You guys are up to 160 today. Look at that freaking. Wow. All right. 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. I'm going to match that 90 and you guys are up to 180. Look at that. Freaking fabulous. Look at this, Tracy. Tracy, you freaking rock. People are paying attention. And when people pay attention, they get very nasty and don't like creators that tell the truth. We're not telling some story. We're not telling some bullshit story like Maddie flushed the drugs. Maddie flushed the drugs. Kaylee was pregnant. No, there is no proof that Maddie flushed anything. There is no proof that Kaylee was pregnant. Can we put those rumors to bed, please? Can we? I'm going to call you out. If you come in my chat and you're telling me that Maddie flushed all those drugs, okay, where's the witness that did it? Where's the text? Where's the report? Where is it? Because I remember in these ISP reports, they asked everyone, are you a drug dealer? You a drug dealer? I heard you're a drug dealer. Somebody started a wild rumor that one of these kids was a drug dealer. Can you believe that? If this kid out there on the street in the frat was a drug dealer, the cops would know. Cops would know. If Maddie and if Kaylee was pregnant, Koberger would have been charged. Hold on a minute. Brian Koberger would have been charged with 5 murders. In Idaho, they will charge you. They will charge you. I'm going to grab the statute, the state statute. I have seen this before. If you commit murder in Idaho for a woman who is pregnant, it is called pregnancy justice. And there is a criminal statute. Don't you think it would have shown up on the charges? Okay, because here in Idaho, yes, I was living in Idaho for a very long time. Yes, I have been involved in the legal system in Idaho, and I am no professional. However, I do know what happens in the state of Idaho. They are against abortions. They are against contraceptives, pretty much. I could go on and on. However, if there was a child, a fetus, and I call it a child, because remember, it takes 2 living people to form a living child. I'm not going to say it's a fetus because I believe it is a human being. It is a living tissue. That is a live tissue. That's just my opinion. And remember, my opinion is my own opinion. Some other people can think differently. That's on them. Whatever suits their conscience, I know it is factually a live, living piece of tissue. A human being is formed. At the time, in my humble opinion, I believe it's the Holy Spirit, but that's just me. Everybody has a spirit. So when you start looking at what they would do if you aborted a child or you murdered a child or somebody was pregnant, they would have been frickin' convicted 100%. Now, let's talk about this for a minute. If this, what Anne was saying, is true, then we have a problem. I don't know why this is not loading well today, but are those letters possibly DR and not GR? Okie dokie, Lisa, what's my Cash App? Let me drop it below so you can see it. If you want to send Cash App style, let me just pop that in there for you so you have it. And here it is. It is Phoenix Talk. Yes, my name is in my Cash App. If anybody's wondering, I don't have a problem with anyone having my name. Just please don't harass me or my family. And if you want to send me any legal documents, you can send it to my attorney. Yes, he is in Boise. And yes, I will give you his name if you ever ask me. I don't have a problem with that. All right. There you go. Yeah, YouTube doesn't take anything. I give my mods the full. I don't care what YouTube takes from me. This isn't a moneymaker for me. I know that this case is a moneymaker for some, and they have moved on to talking about other cases. I'm not moving on till we get the big picture. Okay? So let's listen to this again.
Brian is innocent. Brian has been essentially convicted in the media. He has a right to have this information withheld, brought out in public so that people can see it's not this neat little package. So people can start to wonder if Brian's innocent. Your Honor, Brian is innocent. So if I talk about things that are in the affidavit, and if I talk about things that we're seeking that the state wants to hide, I think that's fair game for the public to hear.
Fair game for the public to hear. And what is the state trying to hide? Now, that was the real Brian Kohberger in court. That was the real factual Brian Kohberger in court. Why is this so important, and why do people keep talking about this? Well, let's get to it. I'm going to call some people out by name in this live that may not like it, but I'm going to give you the facts and the truth. I'll have to explain this once again. There is a group of people out there on the internet, and they share stories of people's plight with their legal cases, whether someone has passed or not, and they get their story out into the media. How do they do that? They basically go to a company called Crime Scene Collective. How do I know about this? Well, I had a run-in with them a little while ago, and I know some people who are in this Crime Scene Collective. What does it look like? This is who they are, and this is what they look like. And what do? They actually have a little program that you can go to and apply to be a member if you want to be part of their social media follower. They want everything. They want to know how many followers you have. They want to know what you do, what kind of content. Anybody can apply. And see, they really like those people who were ex-felons that sometimes a alternative job would not give them the actual support to find a job. And this is their mission. This is their mission 100%. So if you go right to their website right here, this is their mission. They go out in network media, and which is social media, and they partner with influencers and independent media outlets. And they share stories nationwide. You have to ask yourself, what creators are sharing a false narrative? Because those are usually the creators that are getting paid, yes, paid, to share content that's not true or somewhat twisted, not factual, not evidence. And you've probably have asked yourself in your gut, why is this creator not reading the paperwork that I read? This doesn't make sense. Why are all these people sending, oh, he's so guilty, but they've never looked at a document? Those are the people who support them. Those are the people that basically say, yeah, they're the ones. Wow, Lisa, you just gave $20 to my mods today, and I will match that. We are at $100. You guys are going to make me go broke, and I would rather go broke than be with any agency or collective. Now, that is $200 for my mods to split today. You guys are fantastic. Lisa, you are amazing. I truly thank you for supporting what we do and my mods. You do more. You do more than you even imagine. You show up, you interact, you support. That is the best type of people that I want to partner with, because I show up, I support, and I help others. Now, let me explain this to you. If you've never heard of this agency, they use these individuals to go out there and sell a story. And they do it on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, independent media, and podcasters across the network. And what they do is just like a producer of TV shows. They go out and they market a story. Then they go out and they pay people per views, per video, whatever their contracts are. And then their approach is to get these cases shared. What do? An example on their website: as January 2024, they assisted with a case involving the disappearance of a 14-year-old girl. They don't know the backstory. They don't read the documents or the records or the court proceedings or anything like that, but they recovered a teenager 2,400 miles away in Michigan. Her abductor is facing a life sentence. They do this with a lot of cases, not just missing cases. Okay? They tap into it, and they are called the collective. All right. Now that you know that these people exist, story to say a variety of different messages. This is using all AI, folks, and that he's so guilty. Throw him in the slammer. Don't ever let him out. Thank you so much for Brittany becoming a member. Whoop, whoop. In the process. So someone said, I feel like I live in my own little bubble. I didn't know about this. A lot of people don't know about this. A lot of people don't. Have you ever noticed that one creator on a platform will obviously automatically get like 15,000 members, or they have 40,000 members? See, that is not organic. That is not organic. You look at the time that they are a new creator, you look at their content, and you also look at who they follow, who they like, who's chit-chatting, who's commenting, and then you'll know that this is a publicly national, global push for a story. We've been swatted. No, I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. That was close. Stand by, everyone. That is how you know that you are on track. And when you start talking about things that you probably shouldn't be, that is also how you know that you're in big trouble. Okay. I am not looking to get in any type of trouble. I am not trying to discourage or disparage or any liability out there. But I will say this happens more than you know. And this is how they operate. So when they come and attack me, I'm going to attack back with truth. I'm not going to make any sick little videos. I'm not going to go talk about how they're horrible hair. I'm not going to talk about anything like that. I'm just going to hit them with truth. And that is who the collective in these agencies do, and they work. They're like talent scouts, okay? It's just like if you went to an amusement park and somebody approached you and said, oh, you've got the sweetest little child. I want to go ahead and make them a star. That's exactly what they do. Or they have a casting call. Now, what am I going to talk about today? Let me just try to think about what I should talk about today that's really going to piss a lot of these people off, because since they want to go out, Vivian and London, and make videos that are not truthful of me, I'm going to tell the truth about you. I'm going to tell the truth today that you may not like, and that's okay. If you swat me, keep swatting me. I'm going to crush you with the truth. How about that one? Phoenix is on fire. You pissed me off for the last time. So what am I talking about? I'm going to talk about these little documents that were hidden inside the forensics documents, hoping that no one would ever talk about. And what is it? Has anybody guessed or read these documents yet? Has anybody looked a little further? Because Brian Koberger, I don't know if he knew Hunter, Emily, Bethany, or Dylan, but somebody wanted these 4 young, beautiful, vibrant, maybe not so perfect, maybe perfect, college students, 2 which were ready to move on with their lives and have a future, out of commission. That would be Madison, Xana, Ethan, and Kaylee. And although I've seen the pictures that we released and I got the downloaded version, I hurried up before they got scrubbed off the internet. I will say, yes, I've seen the pictures with someone's fingers. Yes, I've seen the pictures with someone's scalp. Yes, I've seen the pictures, because you know what? It is all in the state's exhibits evidence that I have been sharing for so long. Yes, Ethan had scalp injuries. If you read it for yourself, you will see that maybe Ethan was scalped. I hate to say it, but I think he was. And yes, I believe someone stood there and took a fast food napkin and smeared the floor if somebody was trying to write a name. Yes, I do believe it. Why? Well, if you read the documents, like many of us have, I even hate to talk about this sometimes, but I do it to show you the truth. What they are trying to hide, I can't hide. And let me show you what I mean. Remember, we talk facts and evidence here. That's the only way we're going to get to this. Here is factual evidence that someone was so heinous and hateful to Ethan that they possibly could have, yes, scalped him. He had a scalp wound on the right side and a scalp wound on the left side. And maybe what you're seeing in some of those pictures are actually from him being scalped. See, when you stab someone, I know this is probably graphic and I should put an 18 warning, but if you actually stab someone in the head, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to pull their scalp off. Do some research, look at the autopsy, and somebody so angry with Ethan might have done that to him. Not only that, there was a wound near his ear. So if you can imagine ear to almost ear, left to almost right side, that would be why you see hair, unfortunately. It is awful. It is horrible. Now, did that happen to Xana? Yes, there were wounds to her scalp. So the individual who attacked Ethan may have been the same individual who attacked Xana. How? We don't know. Have no idea. But Xana was also had wounds on her right side top of the head and wounds to the center top of her head. Was she scalped? Maybe. It is possible. It is very, very possible. Rest in peace, Ethan and Xana. I'm just going to take a moment of silence. If this was my child, I would be livid. I would be absolutely livid with these results. I feel like these kids were hunted. They were all a target. Maybe they stumbled in something they shouldn't have. All right. Let me just take a deep breath. They deserve better. And this is some heavy stuff right here. All it does is it takes someone to read. Look at the pictures. And they knew somebody would look at it and figure it out. They knew it. Now, this document right here is one of such value. What does this document mean? What does this document mean? Well, these were fingerprints. These were fingerprints in the IDAHO4, and it will tell you exactly what happened and who could possibly be to blame. And this is what they don't want anyone to see. Now, let me be clear. This is my view as the creator on my stream, Phoenix Talks. It's not the view of any institutions, organizations, or individuals mentions unless explicitly stated. This is all theories and discussion based on facts and evidence that the ISP has released publicly and that is still available information for anyone to access. I am not here to defame, slander, harm any reputation of any person or entity, but in 2024, yes, folks, almost a year and a half after this atrocity, after they arrested Brian Koberger, almost a year and a half before, in 2024, they did some research and they looked at Hunter Johnson, and they put him down with Emily Allant, Bethany, and Dylan as subjects. What does this document say? Explain to me in layman terms. Well, here's the big picture. This document is a fingerprint comparison report by the Idaho State Police Lab. They were checking whether fingerprints found in the house matched someone named Hunter Johnson. This is what the police did. They collected 2 latent, that means partial fingerprints inside of 1122 King Road. Now we know that Hunter factually went inside. They also had known fingerprints from Hunter Johnson because obviously his fingerprints are in this document, clear as day. You can go get the fingerprints, and I'm not going to show you because they did not redact his date of birth. They didn't redact his social. I'd have to black that out before I shared that, which I will. But you can go and look at the evidence yourself. And this is what a forensic scientist said. Somebody qualified, a professional. This is what they said. For print L5, meaning this fingerprint didn't belong to Hunter Johnson, that's a very clear exclusion. It was a maybe. It's not a maybe. Sorry. This is not belonging to Hunter Johnson. But L6 was labeled inconclusive, which means they can't say yes or no. What? Why in the world could they not say yes or no? And this was what they wrote. In layman's terms, the print was too smudged. It was partial or low quality. Not enough detail to make a match or rule him out. And remember, inconclusive does not mean a match. It means that L5 does not say that Hunter Johnson's fingerprints were found at the scene. It doesn't place him in the house at the time of the crime. It doesn't identify him as the source of any fingerprint. What it does say is one fingerprint definitely was not his. The other one could not be identified as anyone. There's no positive fingerprint link to Hunter Johnson in this report. And why does this even matter? Not all prints are usable evidence. Maybe they didn't have enough to charge him and say these are yours, but they sure charged Brian Koberger, even though his prints were nowhere, not in the car. The FBI reports, not the car, not the apartment, not his house, no weapons, nothing. This kind of report is often overlooked. It quietly removes people from forensic suspicion. But let me break it down a little bit more. There was another fingerprint match that was questionable, and this was from Emily Allant. Emily Allant's results basically stated that they couldn't conclude if the prints were hers. They needed better prints. So what did they do? Just like with Dylan, they went back and they got, on 6/21/24, they got Hunter Johnson's prints to get a clear picture. A clear picture. And they also did the same thing for Emily. And what they said was basically, hands down, before they went back and got pictures, that they couldn't exclude Emily Allant. One print definitely wasn't hers, and maybe the other one couldn't be identified because they needed better prints. And what did they need from her? They needed better finger and palm cards. They went back in 2024 and they got this fingerprints. Now, hers are pretty unique fingerprints. If you've ever seen fingerprints, let me see if I can bring up this document and at least maybe Let me see if I can at least crop it to where you can see the fingerprints, but not all her private information. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this back up. This is important. This is really important. Let me grab this document. Hold on. Sorry, folks, I didn't think I was going to use this. This is report number 40. Now, there is a report that I requested. I requested report 42 because it is missing in the original release. In the original release of the ISP documents, report number 42 is missing. And you can go through these reports and you can see they're not in sequential order. I have requested ISP 42. This is 40. Hold on. So they went back in 2024 and they started requesting these fingerprints. Don't you think they would have got them early on in this investigation? Now, let me ask you folks a question. Do you think if they went early on and fingerprint every single person that was outside of 1122 King Road, or anyone who called in or was even related around that place, don't you think they would have at least had some type of different investigation? Drop a 1 if you believe if you agree with that statement. They wouldn't have a different outcome with that investigation. I want to see what you guys think about that. I probably think they would have had a different outcome, in my humble opinion. I believe they would have. I 100% believe they would have found the culprit faster, quicker, sooner if they had definitely went with their own gut feeling, their skilled experience, because these guys were not just inequipped. They weren't. They were not. I can't do that. Shoot, I'm going to have to crop it later. I believe so. I believe they were experienced enough. They were following a silver car in Boise. They were following a white car in Boise. So in this report that I have up here on the screen, I'm going to have to get the original and then I'll show you the prints. It's wild. Her prints, guys, let me see if it pulled up. Her prints are so unique. You think they would have been able to see. And I'm not saying she's involved. I'm just saying that it's possible that they may have made some mistakes. In this case, definitely needs to be looked over. A second, third, fourth opinion, perhaps a fifth. I don't know how much money that they have spent on this case. I would like to see that too. But the forensic documents that ISP released to the public, somebody should have had a second look. 100% Ink Mama. I agree. These were released on the 24th of November. Her unique fingerprints are wild. And that was 40, report 40. Let's see if I can find it again without having to go through all this. Oh, you know what? Hold on a minute. Let me send it through my phone because I took a screenshot of her handprints. Hold on. I'll just send it to my email, pull it up, and then I'll show you faster than that. Fingerprints for Emily Allant. Here we go. So so freaking unique. I was shocked when I saw them myself. Here they are. Let me see if I can crop this so I don't send her personal information out on the web. Hold on. Oh, I should have thought about that before. Ethan. I've got something I want to talk about Ethan too. That is a good find. Holy cow, you guys are going to scream when I show you this. Verify fingerprints. Hold on. Here they are. Let me edit this picture. I do not want to be accused of maliciously doxing someone because this is public. Although this is S.A. O'Neill who did the fingerprints. This is actually Hunter Johnson's, and then I'm going to show you Emily Alon's. Hunter's are pretty unique too. Here is Hunter Johnson's, and let me grab Emily's right here. Hers are freaking unique, and I'm going to tell you why. And I'm going to do something that I've never done on live before. Are you all ready? This is S.A. O'Neill took hers and his, and I'm sure they both talked to each other about this, right? I'm sure that they were like, oh my God, they took my fingerprints. And I'm going to ask ChatGPT, can you interpret these fingerprints like an expert and tell me about this person in deep detail, like an expert would in a murder investigation. All right. Now, I don't believe in psychics. I believe there's people that are spiritual. I don't believe in that. But there are people. There's patterns that you can tell about people, like quality, hand use, possible range indicators. I mean, there's a reason that they take people's fingerprints. Tells you the loop, tells you patterns. Okay, this pattern of Emily Alon's fingerprints tell a story, and it looks like she's right hand dominant. Look at her index finger and her thumbs, heavier pressures there. Lighter on her ring and little fingers. And let me see if there is anything. This person was likely nervous or impatient. And that would have been if an examiner would have looked at this. Now, it can't tell you traits and what color she likes or what food she eats, but these is just an overall speculation. And it says the determination was she was likely nervous or impatient, and the subject slightly resisted being fully rolled. You can tell when people are relaxed. You can definitely. Yes, you can tell a lot from fingerprints. Yes, you can. Okay. Now, this was a latent print for both of them. That means that they had to spray luminol. They had to do fingerprint dusting. This was not left in blood. This was a latent fingerprint that they found with amino black or dusting. There are no visible scars or ridge breaks. There's no surgical scars, no cuts. This person has not done any heavy manual labor. You can tell a lot from people's hands. They have not had any serious hand trauma, or else there would be a scar. Has not attempted fingerprint altercation. People try to burn their, believe me, they do crazy stuff. They would look for crime scene matching with these prints, elimination prints, sequence what do they call it? Reconstruction. Like if the prints are found on the door, they would try to match them. Weapons, window. How they access that is how a hand was used, direction of movement, pressure, grip versus touch. But, you cannot tell somebody's personality, intelligence, aggression, uh, psychopathy, criminal tendency, moral character. That is not what they do with fingerprints. That's all TV science. That's what you see on these freaking TV shows. A real expert summary would say that this is a female's hand, right dominant, no manual labor background, no fingerprint altercation or alternation, average genetic derma what do they call that? Like a normal hand, right? And this would probably be their first time or infrequent interaction with fingerprinting. And this is an ordinary civilian biometric profile. But when I look at it, look at the unique swirls on her hands. Look at the unique swirls in the middle, on the middle ring finger. Isn't that wild? Look at her swirls. Yeah, Les, you see them, right? And that's what I noticed. I noticed that right away. When I worked in sporting goods, I had to get fingerprinted. Is that because of the high level of theft? I try to watch your lives, but I have to run. The nails are so loud. Turn off the nails. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I need to get a quieter keyboard. As a matter of fact, somebody told me, let me see if this works. I'm trying to find ways to tone down the keyboard. My microphone is now higher up, so hopefully this works. Okay. Oh, yeah, selling. Okay, got it. Yeah, that makes sense. It is a very unique swirl. And she kind of has man hands, in my humble opinion. That's what this looks like. But remember the difference between hers, this is Emily's, and this is Hunter. See how he doesn't have those real indent, swirls? Now let me go over and hopefully that is a little bit softer on the keyboard. Someone told me to do that. Now I'm going to tell him to analyze Hunter's, and let's see what we have here. You can tell the distinct difference. And it says a medium quality, most ridges are visible. Some areas are smeared, unink, partial roll. The technician was adequate but not meticulous. Like, still 100% usable for AFIS. Now, this is only ChatGPT. Only ChatGPT. But if you look at what they put in this document, they say that L6 was not suitable for MBIS. Okay. How about MBIS database? Let me ask. How about MBIS? MBIS is actually very relevant to serious investigations. That is the U.S. Department of Homeland Security system. Fingerprints, palms, face, iris is what they need, sometimes scars, marks, or tattoos. AFIS is mostly criminal justice. Asylum seekers, border encounters, deportation, military contractors, and some other background checks. MBIS is much broader than AFIS. And why does it matter? Prints don't hit in criminal AFIS, but they do in MBIS. So if you've been an immigrant, if you've come over the border, federal background checks, military and contractor work background checks, student visas, and work visas. So MBIS is what you want to be running fingerprints through for all the above. It's better, it's cleaner, it gives a hidden case history. You know, it's wild. That is the one. It's a one-tier biometric. It's higher than AFIS, and it's one of the most guarded federal database. And I think the reason that this was quoted or labeled as Homeland Security issue security is because of the biometric footprint across the US government. Was there somebody that was possibly a CI? Absolutely. We know that. We know that, and I have said this before. This database is for the government federal system. I've always asked what or who was the confidential informant in this case since day one. And just the other night, someone finally caught it and they played it. Who was the confidential informant? Who do you think of all of those individuals? Again, I'll ask, if you just joined me, who do you think was the confidential informant, and why are they so protected? Think about that one. If you were informed that something was going to go down, would you hang around? Would you hang around with the chance that you would be injured? I don't care if I was an informant or not. I would not hang around. I would not hang around. Not one bit. Now, I will say this. I'm not here to defend anyone, but Dylan's prints were never found to be part of this. Her prints were never found. In all of the forensic documents, Dylan's was never found to match any of what they found. Now remember, she lived in the house. She lived in the house. Who was not there? Somebody is very protected in this case. My money for the confidential informant would have been, in my humble opinion, Bethany Funk. That's just my speculation. That's my humble opinion. That would make so much sense to me. That would make so much sense to me. Now, let me go back and let me show you exactly what Captain Lanier said. I want you guys to be very aware of what he says. Let me grab that video. I know it's been going around, but I want you to pay attention to clearly what he says. Let's review the real footage when they were going around, walking around, looking. Snyder did an outstanding job. He caught people talking off the cuff, people that were sketch, sus, maybe had been there for a while, that knew what was going on. And while I do this, let me grab this and sync this up too. Now, do me a favor and take a look at the cars on this street, on this video. And let me go back and refer to what was said on the documents. They narrowed 3 individuals from the Boise area. That's key. 3 individuals in the Boise area. They followed a gray car, a white car, and a silver car. Okay? It's very important that you walk around with Snyder when he goes and looks for a gray car, a silver car, and a white car. Very important. And you just look around the entire footage of where he was going. You know, Ashley Jennings is here talking. Captain Lanier is here. This guy is from ISP. 2 other officers are down there. They're having conversations back and forth. We know that for a fact. Most of this is redacted. And there is, hold on a minute. I don't know if you've ever seen this one too, the baby's.
The following is Idaho State Police Report number 117 dated December 8.
Where is Connor? Hold on one second. And let me grab this report. And let me give you the actual body cam. Where is it? Let me get the exact prompt. There's so many videos now, it's crazy. Gunderson, Snyder's. Captain Lanier was right here. All right, here we go. So many things I have to hit to get this thing on the screen. I'm going to put the captions on. And I've showed this one before. He confirmed that where the party was, he points up, and you have to listen. Here we go.
We're going to do a neighborhood canvas. So I need to know who's available here to start with me. We're going to do the scene. We're going to walk around and look at the cameras. Did you just hear that radio transmission just a minute ago?
Yeah.
Somebody.
And I was on. They did have a camera up here, and they are going to be emailing me the footage from it. It just comes out this way though. So,
Okay.
the house is that one.
It's up.
Yeah.
It's the one on the other side, right? The gray one up there. How many people live in that one?
How many people live in the house?
A bunch. There was a party last night too.
He said a bunch.
At that house.
He points up to the hill. We've talked about this video before.
But
it is redacted. I don't know if you know this, but one of them is a CI. I can play it back super slow. It doesn't pick it up on the closed caption. And yes, he does say CI.
I can tell you more over
I can tell you more over here. He wants to take it off camera. Just like when Gunderson ran into somebody and he covers his camera. Let me go back a little bit more so we can catch it. Here we go. He says it under his breath. He doesn't want it on camera. That is exactly what he said. Now, I don't know who did it. I don't know who did it, that one of them is a CI. This is not on captions. This is the original video. And yes, he does whisper it. So whoever picked it up on caption that it is a CI, it was not the original video, but he does say it. So I'm going to debunk the rumor that it was false because Captain Lanier just whispered under his breath, one of them is a CI. Clear as day. There was a party, another party, on the hill. For those who don't listen,
I don't know the names of the victims.
he says it under his breath, very, very low. I don't know. Somebody turned down the volume. Don't know if you know this, but one of them was a CI. Now, he doesn't say one of the four. He says, how many people live in that house? A lot of them. I don't know if you know this, but one was a CI. He doesn't say one of four. He doesn't say one of four. So clearly, it may or may not be one of the victims. That is for you to determine in your mind, your own free will, if one of these were a confidential informant. Doesn't mean that it was one of those four victims. Doesn't mean that. Does he said one of the victims? No, it doesn't. Listen to what he says.
I don't know the names of the victims.
I don't know if you know, but one of them is a CI. Did he say one of the four victims, or did he mean all of them in the house? He says how many people live in there. He says a bunch. Okay. I don't know how people will assume it was one of the four. Who's been the most protected person in this? Did he mean one of the victims? He didn't say it. Okay, I don't know if you know this, but one of them was a CI. He doesn't specify, guys, that it was the victims. One of the victims was a CI. Just one of them was a CI. Now, was could be past tense, Les. Yes, was. He didn't say yes, he said was. It's very possible that the CI passed away. And who is the most loudest family in this case? Who is the loudest family? Who is it? Drop your thoughts. Drop your thoughts. Now the case is making more sense. Yes, she was, in my humble opinion. She was the most protected in the state of Idaho. Yes, you guys, I love you guys. I love that you're down this journey with me. I love the fact that you're paying attention. I love the fact that nothing gets by you. But let me show you a little something before we go. Let me just show you a little something that I saw that was very disturbing for me. Does anybody remember the person that Ethan was in the car with when he was stopped for a simple driving incident? Anybody remember this guy? I'm going to speed it up a little bit so that we...
Sweet. What's your birthday? Awesome. Sit tight for me, guys. I'll be right back, okay? Do you want to turn the car off real quick? And then whose was this? Okay. So everything else checks out. I'm going to warn you. I know you're underage. Shouldn't be having this, right? Okay. I'm not going to hammer you with a ticket, but you could get a ticket for this. It's around a $500 ticket for a minor possession, okay? So I'm just make sure everything comes out clear, and I'll get you guys out of here, okay? Holy shit. Moscow 172. You need a case for alcohol offense, and I have two run it. First name last Chapin, Charles Henry Adam Paul Evan Nora. First name Ethan Edward Tom Henry Adam Nora. Middle initial J John. Date of birth 2002 02. Regular second.
Okay, so my point is this guy was stopped with Ethan Chapin. John Goering. Anybody heard of him? I don't know if he was a frat brother or maybe a friend with Ethan or acquaintance. I don't know what the reason that he was in the car with Ethan, but I just kind of got a weird feeling about this kid, right? So I went and just looked around, and I found some interesting things on the internet about this guy, which kind of made me a little sus. Of course, everyone's sus, because why would somebody do this to these beautiful kids, right? And this was one of the first pictures that I found, which I found very disturbing. And I thought, you know what? Probably one of those Halloween things, right? And he was awarded Scholar of the Month, okay? And then he was awarded Scholar of the Month. And look at how they chose to take these pictures. Is it sus? I think it's a little gross, but what are your thoughts about pictures like this? I mean, he was with Sigma Chi. He probably was a brother. This was done on November 1st, 2022. Another Scholar of the Month. Personal trainer, student, University of Idaho, fitness instructor, fitness director roles, and growing sports, active lifestyle, yada, yada, yada. Found it very interesting. But here's one thing that I will say about whoever did this to these four people. Number one, they had to have had some medical background or training. Hunter was in sports and fitness. Some of his requirements probably included that. Some of this guy's requirements probably included that. Anatomy, physiology, biologic chemist, all these other things that are required for any health background. You know who else was interested in health background that would probably require sports, anatomy, physiology? Dylan, absolutely. Maybe even Emily Allant. Yeah. Who else would require a background in anatomy and physiology? It is creepy. It's creepy yeah, AF. Absolutely. Absolutely creepy. But the creepiest thing is, did the investigators even question these things? Did the investigators even look at any of these kids? Because obviously in 2024, Ann Taylor had to go back and ask 4 people for fingerprints. Now, I know Josie was in criminology and psychology, so maybe not so much anatomy. I'm sure maybe they had to have a basic class. But a basketball player that knew sports background, watch Ethan's movements.
Guys, oh, sure. All right, you're good. I appreciate you being responsible and driving.
I always thought Hunter was the questionable one in this story. And I always thought that Ethan was the good kid. You know, the kid that everyone's jealous of. You know, the kid that basically everyone likes. Yeah. I think Kaylee was the good kid. I think Xana was probably not so perfect, but wanted to be just as good as Kaylee and Maddie. I think all these kids were probably disliked for some reason, enough to take them all out of the equation. Maybe one of them caught on to who the CI was. Maybe they were entangled in something the state wanted to hide. Because now we know. We definitely know. From the forensic documents in 2024, there were still some people that weren't totally excluded. And it's time for the truth to come out. Thanks for joining me today on the live. You guys have amazingly gifted our mods. And I have matched every single sticker, every donation on this live. $180 plus the $20 I gave. That's a $200 day for my mods, which I am so thankful for everybody here. I will be back tomorrow, if not Sunday afternoon, with a bombshell from the pictures that you do not want to miss. And I'm just going to reiterate, I'm not going to share the most gruesome pictures out of respect for these families and their loved ones. But I think it's time we need a little bit more truth. I think we need just a little bit more truth. What do you all think? Drop a 1 if you think it's time. There's so much I've seen in these pictures. I'm going to redact as much as I can. You all be well, and thank you so much for the warm welcome back. See y'all soon.
I've been chasing shadows in the night. Words echo silent where I hide. Every mirror shows a stranger's eyes, searching for the part of me that's mine. But the sky ignites a spark inside, burning down to wait in the ashes of my fire. truth is born